Left. No, right. Oh, forget it, you'll never meet this person anyway. It's just a keyboard. Or a cell phone. You can say something insincere, vulgar. It doesn't really matter. You're not saying it to their face. This is the society we live in today. Social media has replaced the knock on the door or the act of speaking to another friend's parents in order to get them on the phone. No longer do you have to wait until you see your friend at school or work. They're just a keystroke or text away, and it's so much more impersonal than it used to be. Social media is all around us, and while many think it's an improvement in society, I'm here to tell you why it's not. I'll explain to you how researchers have found that social media can create a false sense of connection. I'll also explain to you the phenomenon of cyberbullying, previously not present just 20 years ago. I'll also tell you how social media has attributed to a decreased productivity in the workplace. Lastly, I'll explain to you how our individual personal space has in turn turned our I'll explain how it has invaded our personal space and made privacy a thing of the past. Social media has created a false sense of connection. Think about it. Whenever you're sending a text or writing a Facebook wall post, you can't tell the emotion behind that person or what they're meaning to say to you. This makes for less personal relationships. According to a study by Cornell University's Steven Strogatz, social media sites make it more difficult for people to determine whether a relationship is meaningful or not. I know that we've all talked to somebody via text, or we've met somebody through Facebook, and you really don't get a reading on them until you meet them in person. You could send hundreds and hundreds of messages before you even see them, and you have no idea who this person really is. There's no emotion. I mean, you can't even tell if they're being sarcastic or not. Speaking of tones and messaging, one of the more troubling aspects of social media is the new phenomenon of cyberbullying. Previously unheard of 20 years ago, cyberbullying is so prevalent today we see it on the news almost daily. According to NoBullying.com, over 52% of teenagers have reported being bullied on their cell phone or on the internet, and 25% of these teens have reported repeated bullying. This is a troubling statistic. You see on the news every day a young person being affected by cyberbullying, leading to depression or even their own suicide at such young ages of 12, 13, or 14. That was previously unheard of 20 years ago, at least through online means. Now, this happens in the high schools and middle schools of the world, but how does social media affect the workplace? Think about it. You have a little downtime at work, so you get on your Facebook or Instagram and start scrolling through some photos. The next thing you know, an hour has passed and you're no closer to getting your task done than you were 2 hours before that. Nucleus Research reported that Facebook caused a decrease of 1.5% in office productivity. While you might think that's minuscule, consider that Morris followed up on that and claimed that companies in Britain lost over $2.2 billion that year due to this decrease in productivity. Now that's a crazy statistic to me, and that was a study done over 2 years ago, and now the prevalence of Snapchat, Tinder, and more Facebook, and Twitter, who knows how much that number has increased. When considering this, also consider the fact that this has decreased our privacy. Back in the day, you would meet someone and know nothing about them unless they told you face to face. Now they're just one click away on their Facebook and you can see their age, where they were born, their favorite food, even their cell phone and email. Now, this does create for you getting a better sense of someone before you meet them, but is that necessarily a good thing? Not only can this affect your personal relationships, but it can also affect your livelihood, such as your job. An employer can look up your Facebook profile and see a picture from 3 years ago that might be unflattering and then not consider hiring you just because of that picture. 20 years ago, they would just go off your resume in your interview. Now, you can have something on your Twitter that was a little detrimental to your personality or to that company that they would say, oh, we're already going to write off this person before you've even met them or looked at their resume. In conclusion, I believe I've made it clear that social media is having a negative impact on our society. Whether it's the fake friendship, the increase as well as creation of cyberbullying, decreased productivity, or the lack of privacy, social media is detrimental in our society and our societal well-being. I think we as young people need to put down the cell phone and spend less time on Instagram or Facebook, and perhaps instead go out and meet someone new for the first time without having read or seen their pictures on Facebook or Instagram, or without having dissected their tweets to see what kind of person they are. So next time you want to cruise Facebook or insult someone's Instagram photos, picture saying this to their face. Think about your relationships before social media, when you had to make that awkward phone call to your friend's parents in order to see them that night. Think about whenever you watch your favorite TV show, your favorite sporting event, and instead of being able to go on Facebook and make a status or message your friend instantly, you had to wait until school the next morning. And picture how much more excitement you had and build up and more thought you could put into relationships and talking to people whenever you couldn't just do it instantly with no emotion and the swipe of a keyboard. Those relationships were a lot stronger and personable back then than they are now, and I think I've made that point very clear. Thank you very much.